Conversations with aso-ebi.
Hello. I want to try a quiz on you. You can drop your answers in the comment, but before I drop the expo, just go into the comment section and drop your answers. Who is the current chairman of the People's Democratic Party? Yes, drop your answers in our comment section. I'm not sure even Google or AI could give you a definite or direct answer, but Azu has an answer. And his answer is, it depends, unquote. Yes, in one instance, the chairman of the PDP could be Umar Damagum, and in the very next instant, it could be Mohammed Abdurrahman. And so has it been, even as the party prepares for its national convention at the weekend. But here is even more travesty. On October 31st, a federal high court in Abuja had issued an order restraining the PDP from holding its planned convention in Ibadan for alleged irregularities in the congresses conducted in 14 states. On November 4, an Oyo State High Court issued a contrary order for the convention to proceed. Then, on November 11, another federal high court issued an order not only stopping the convention but directing the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to not participate or recognize the outcome thereof. Now cast your mind back. In 2008, former national chairman of the PDP, Prince Vincent Ogbulafo, had declared that the party would rule Nigeria for 60 years. But it managed just 16 and the crystal glass broke. Since 2015, when the PDP lost power, political, judicial, and malicious rascality have ensured that the party remains a house divided against itself. Welcome to Conversation with Azu, a weekly diary on life and politics. Our topic today is titled, Why is the Promise of 60 Years Unravelling? And I have with me, as always, the writer of this column, Azu-ebi, to tell us why 60 years is unraveling in less than even 20.
Yeah.
Welcome to Conversation.
Well, thanks for having me, Julius. I think that part of the answer is found in the intro that you provided. But it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So there are several court injunctions stopping the November 15 convention in Ibadan. Yet the National Working Committee and the Convention Planning Committee have declared that the convention will proceed regardless.
Yes.
There's a judicial landmine somewhere, isn't there?
Oh yes, obviously there is, but I'm not sure if the parties to this dispute care anymore, whether they are going to trip over a landmine or not. We have been told, as I said in my column, that the other faction, that is the faction bent on going ahead tomorrow and the day after, have said that, well, the convention will go ahead, even if it means going ahead over their dead bodies. So we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, there are propositions for the party to set up an interim management committee or a caretaker committee if it is unable to elect officials through the convention. And it looks like a viable plan B. But will it solve the underlying problems?
I'm not so sure how that will. You know that part of the reason, part of why we got where, why the party got where it was that the parties, that is the pro-Wike faction opposed to this convention going on, argued that the party failed to meet the test of its own internal rules and the requirement based on the ruling of the Supreme Court that all congresses must be held in all the states before you can have your national convention. There were a couple of states, obviously, where that didn't happen in the PDP, and then the party is obviously going ahead with its convention. Although it had reasons, or is it, I don't know the reasons that it gave, but I guess the ruling of the Supreme Court on that matter was quite clear. But you see, all of this actually gives cause for concern, which I am hoping that we will get to in the course of this conversation. It's not a thing of joy, of pleasure. That any country, or that a country, especially a democratic country, should exist without a robust and viable opposition. But
Yes, you almost preempt me, and I'm coming right
Yes,
at
yes,
it.
yes.
Should we, we as Nigerians, be worried about the level of judicial involvement in party and
Absolutely,
electoral
absolutely.
affairs?
I think it also doesn't reflect well on the judiciary, because where you have a situation where one court issues an order, and a court of either of coordinate or equal jurisdiction issues an order contrary, then you have a problem. I'm told that the court in Ibadan had argued at the point that it was unaware of the ruling of the Federal High Court. But then when it resumed, because that the ruling of the court in Ibadan was given ex parte, that is without the benefit of the other party being present, and that the judge argued that he was unaware of any ruling anywhere, and on the basis of he took the decision that the convention should go ahead on the basis of the facts before him. But I think that the next day, when when sitting resumed at the court, it was reported that his lordship was availed with the facts, which was published in at least 4 newspapers. But I think his lordship just went ahead in disregard of the facts that were presented. And it's not good. I mean, it's really not good. I have been concerned at the rate at which the judiciary has to be involved in party affairs, and also has to be involved in election outcomes. We have seen that many times, and it's getting, it's not good for the judiciary. It's not good for voters. It's not good for the political space that we should have this frequent and often unnecessary intervention by the judiciary in what is supposed to be the internal affairs of the parties. But it is the parties, unfortunately, that invite the judiciary into their internal affairs, and but it's not a good thing. I think the politicians should get their act in order, obey their own rules, and allow internal democracy to reign in their affairs.
All right. For the benefit of enjoying this column, let me bring to you an excerpt where Azu casts our mind back to PDP when PDP was PDP. Take a listen. And I quote, "With the near absolute power of Nigeria's presidency, unrestricted access to resources, and the copious resourcefulness of fixers in quote, what the PDP could not do did not exist. It could get away with just about any heist. It was not only the political place to be, but it didn't need a register of membership to qualify itself as the largest political party in Africa." End of quote. Now, this is a party that used to make light of its trouble and say it was a family affair.
Yeah, that's correct.
The family has become what one of the founding members and founding chairman of PDP, Chief Sunday Awuni, described them as a basket of scorpions stinging themselves to death all over again.
Yes.
So where do we go from here?
I don't think it is late to retrieve the chestnut from the fire, so to speak. I think it is possible for the remnant of the leadership to have a second life, and they can only do that by coming together and then just looking at themselves introspectively. And if they do want, if they want to have a second life, then they must decide how to resolve this lingering dispute about the leadership of the party. Of course, the fair point has been made that there's a lot of interference from outside. All right, but as we say, there will only be interference. It's when there is a crack in the wall that the lizard gets in. There would not be interference from outside if the party sits down and deals with its own internal problems.
And seals the hole into one.
And seals the hole, and seals the crack. That I think is what the party needs to do. It needs it absolutely needs to sit down and deal with its own internal problems, seal the crack, and then see how it goes on from here. We still have another 17 or 18 months to the general election, but we don't have all of that runway in terms of a party that really wants to prepare to give the ruling party a contest, for the next election. I don't think we have much time. And the time to rescue the party and give it a second life is just about now. But I hope that they understand the urgency of what is at stake.
Is it fair to accuse the ruling APC of scheming for a one-party state or of using the FCT minister, who is a member of the PDP, to destabilize the PDP?
Well, I'm not sure. The other day, the FCT minister said nobody is above the law. And I do not think that he said that to assume that he's the exception. So if the party has rules within itself about how to deal with errant members, and the party finds him guilty of breaching those rules, then the rules should apply to him. I'm serious about that, because but then they themselves know, they know that they know what is going on. But as to whether it is in the interest of any party, remember that in this article we also referenced the fact that there was a time when the PDP seemed to be the only party. It seemed to be the only party. And I remember that we once had a conversation with the chairman of the APC, and then this whole question of whether APC seemed to be pleased to be the only party. He said, look, Nigeria is a country of 200 and something million people, and the entire membership of the APC, as large as it is hardly a small fraction of the entire population of Nigeria. So people are still free to go and do, nobody, So we all still have that right. We all still have the opportunity to organize, to associate. And the Independent National Electoral Commission has not said that it has finished registering parties. There are about 19 parties, all right? One of which is the ruling party. Okay, so people are free to organize. We also need to be... The thing about Nigerians is that, we want things served to us always on a platter. We are not prepared to go in there and take it. No party would say going in for an election, which is a contest, you will not want to work in favor of. You want to guard and protect your own interests as a political party and do everything to optimize that interest. It's legitimate. All right. So it is up to the opposition and up to citizens who feel genuinely concerned that we are going to organize and present a challenge to the ruling party.
All right. Finally, there are recent elections in Tanzania, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Cameroon have shown sitting governments clamping down on opposition. And Tanzania, to be surprised, was like the worst case scenario. But in Nigeria, it is the opposition which is failing to strategize and organize. Does this in any way represent democratic consolidation for us as a country and for the continent in general?
Well, you see, we've had an unbroken run since 1999, but the process is still evolving, quite frankly, and there are still lessons to be learned. I do not think that we have reached it. It's a process, it's a journey. We haven't reached any destination yet. But you see, people should also be careful, because what we are saying of the APC today, that it's a beneficiary of what appears to be a one-party system, was what we said of the PDP only yesterday. So, and like I also argued in my column, that you see, the people who are racing to and defecting in droves to the ruling party, they have their motives. This coming together, this sudden coming together of strange bedfellows, if the APC doesn't manage it well, tomorrow we might be saying of the APC what we are saying about the PDP today. So I'm just hoping that lessons will be learned, and but it's not really a destination; it's a journey. We still have a long way to go, and much of what is playing out in terms of the sort of lack of discipline that politicians are showing is a reflection of immaturity. Right? Ghana is just right across from. You will not have this sort of thing happening, in Ghana. So the attitude of politicians themselves is not helping matters at all. But I'm hoping that we'll take from some of the mistakes that have been made, and that the parties will have a more open playing field, obey their own rules for their own sake, and then organize for the country's sake, and that citizens will also mobilize and not depend entirely on anybody to lead them by the nose.
All right. Iyolo Michere said he was once a member of the PDP. That
He was the secretary, in fact,
yes,
national secretary.
that the PDP is nothing without power. So don't miss this opportunity to look up our main content on aso-ebi.com. And for our book, our new book, A Midlifer's Guide to Content Creation and Profit, and other titles, visit www.azu.media. Thanks for coming on the show, Azu.
Thanks for having me once again, Jonas. Pleasure.
Bye for now.
Conversations with Azu Ishekwene.